all right. Well, it's been a little bit, but I think I should react to another Warframe video, especially from the legendary, what's his name? evanf1997. And so this one in particular, I just saw, man, I just saw it randomly in my what is it? My recommended or my for you. And so this was rather interesting because, of course, it's Warframe for someone who only played Destiny. Of course, I think Warframe is going to be a perfect game for people who move on from Destiny when Destiny fully ends, especially with its chapters, which I think it's going to be pretty soon. I believe when it's going to end, and so um, I think this game will be perfect for them to move on and to play. And I want to see what Evan talks about in this video of um why this game of why Warframe what it is for someone who Warframe is for someone who only played Destiny, which of course I am in the same boat as well. I did play a significant amount of Destiny 1 and 2, and until I got into Warframe, well, Warframe really did fill up that slot a lot. It didn't mean I didn't juggle between both. I did. Anyway, oh, quick announcement. Um, between the second of mainly the 2nd of November, I'm going to be playing a modded version of Fallout 4, which I curated myself to get everything to work. That's why I've been pretty tired for the past couple days. And so, thank you. Thank you for listening. Let's get on with the video. Hopefully it's not too loud. So he's showing so I guess he's showing like how it all begins.
The year is 2013. Free-to-play hasn't hit the big mainstream yet. The Legend of Zelda shirt and khaki...
Wait, what game was that? Wait, hold on.
Shorts hasn't hit the big main...
It looks familiar, but I don't know what.
...stream yet.
Never mind.
The Legend of Zelda shirt and khaki shorts are in. PewDiePie is the biggest name on YouTube. The most popular game to be released soon is GTA 5 and The Last of Us. But hidden in the depths sits a small indie project named Warframe. According to Richard Scott Jones, a PC gamer, quote, the concept for Warframe originated in 2000, when Digital Extremes began work on a new game titled Dark Sector. By 2012, in the wake of success of free-to-play games, the developers took their earlier Dark Sector ideas and art assets and incorporated them into a new project. Their self-published one, named Warframe. Initially, the growth of Warframe was slow. It was hindered by moderate critical reviews and low player counts. Since its release, however, the game has experienced positive growth. The game is one of Digital Extreme's most successful titles, seeing nearly...
I think the reason why the game had its stubble growth, I believe, was because it was website only. I think that's what it was. So the only way to get the game was through their URL or their own personal website, which I think from the document that I reacted to, that as soon as they put it on Steam, it blew up. They went from like hundreds to like thousands, like in a matter of hours, I believe, or days.
50 million registered players by 2019 alone.
No, 50 million registered losers. Okay, that's a specific reference. If you know, if you don't know, then just look up Rebecca. Is it Rebecca? Rebecca. I think it's like 40 million users or losers. I think that's what she said. She misspoke. It was funny.
So you might think that for a guy who has spent over 6,000 hours on Destiny 2 alone, has covered plenty of live service games, and has a reputation for documenting great community stories, that I would have played, well, Warframe. You might consider the game to be a quote-unquote Destiny killer, a term that might sting if you have played Warframe because, well, this game has been out longer than Destiny.
Oh yeah, Evan was a Warframe player. I've totally forgot about that. I mean, a Destiny player. I totally forgot about that too. Yeah. Now, okay, now it's clicking together. I was like, it sounds so familiar, But now, okay, now I
Destiny
know.
1. So why did it take me so long to talk about Warframe, and what will this video be about? It took me so long because it was intimidating to get into. You see, for a while, Destiny was like comfort.
What?
You see, for a while, Destiny was like comfort food. A game that
Yeah.
I knew so well, a community I knew well, and a constant expectation of what I was getting. While Warframe felt like a stack of 100 books on top of another until I collapsed with too much information. I was told by Warframe experts, aka a Twitch chat, that in order to review the Warframe killer, the First Descendant, I had to see where its roots and inspirations were from. Why it made Warframe players very upset. To be educated in one department, I had to get my PhD in technology. So this video will be a dive into Warframe, a review of how a Destiny player sees the game, an entry into my Destiny Killers playlist, and I guess you could call it a preview into the First Descendant review from me too. Oh, and if you like this style of videos at all, or are happy to...
Yeah, I like how, yeah, I remember hearing about that too, that people were saying the First Descendant, it's a Warframe killer. I'm like, bro, Warframe has done so much for the community and done so many things right because they corrected a lot of their wrongs. There's a reason why they have a dedicated fan base. And I mean dedicated to the point where it's like people love it because it's Warframe. It is what it is. People love the characters, the story, the gameplay, and even the community managers, the developers, the everyone, dude. I'll be honest with you. When was the last time have you heard that you love the community manager for Destiny? I don't even know who the hell they are now. There was only one I remember from Destiny, which was Deej, and that's it. But what else? Do you like the community manager for Call of Duty? Who the fuck is that? What about the ones for First Ascended? Who the hell is that? You know. So that's the reason why for me, that's why I like these cats a lot, is um, because they're so in tune, they're so tuned in with the community. That's why.
To push this video to more people to experience, please drop the video a like and please comment if I got things wrong.
Absolutely.
Or comment on your first experience with the game too. So let's dive right into Warframe. The other thing I want to remind you guys of right now is that you can go click my link and grab a Starforge beautiful brand new PC. You guys know I use Starforge for this entire run of
Hell yeah, dude. Can I get one of those Starforges, please? Hit me up, Starforge. Who's the owner? Asmon? Come on, Asmon. I like your vids. Hit me up.
Frame, and it would do me a service to just click the link, man. I'm not asking you to buy a PC today. Hell, I'm not asking you to buy a PC tomorrow.
I'm not asking for a 4090. I'll take a 4070. I actually do like a 4070. Those look pretty nice.
Or next week, in the future, whatever. But clicking the link does me a huge amount of help. So thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the video.
I'm gonna add one more thing. Isn't it crazy now how games are pretty much becoming like soon? I think in a matter of like a year. I think I told my friend this, that soon enough the 20 series is going to be it's probably going to hit the minimum pretty soon. It's gonna be crazy, dude.
Warframe is a lot to take in. It's an understatement to say that if you pick this game up now, that you will be overwhelmed, and that the new player experience is rough. Platinum, Endo, Credits, Aya, Regal Aya, Ducats. The complex mod system with its own mods to gather and upgrades to check out. Riven mods, frames that each have their own reasons to use them. Weapon slots to upgrade, mastery ranks, and... it's a lot. I know I always critique Bungie on their new player experience with a short tutorial than a boot.
I agree. It is a lot for like a newer player because the game essentially throws a whole desk at you and be like, here, figure this out. It was pretty rough. I won't lie to you, man. It was pretty rough when I played it first time too.
Into the rest of the world. But imagine if vanilla Destiny through all of the final shape was available at launch. It sounds great, but imagine if there was still material grinds from back then living in the state of stasis. No pun intended. And if each year's fixes with the game added better things but never removed the old, you might be a bit exhausted going into it all.
Yeah.
This is why when I started, I had two of my friends taxi me, and my other friend who was new to the game with me talking it out. Did we miss out on some of the missions per planet? Yeah. Did we still get to experience every mission type and every bit the game had to offer? Also, yeah, I should say that this was an important part of my story, and I know there will be some Warframe purists that want me to experience everything the quote intended way, but I found that way to be a drag, and I did a lot of the grinds without skipping them.
Oh, absolutely. If you try to do things the intended way of Warframe, it is a drag because there is so much of just old content that you're grinding through, which sucks. That's kind of the reason why that Warframe tends to put things over the years. They have put things slowly on like the older areas, so it'll keep you more engaged. Because of that, and which I'm glad. But if you're someone that played the game before they added any of that stuff, oh yeah, it's a big drag. I understand 100% why people left Destiny because it was just playing so much of the old content that was just practically empty, you know, and just skipped out on it. I get it, 100%.
So I at least got to have a taste to understand it. I do want to leave a note that ultimately I am still grinding out a lot of the materials and a lot of the frames and weapons right now, so I can only have an opinion on so much. Yeah. I'm also aware that the Duviri paradox allows a different path for the game, but I wanted to go back in time for my run, and I genuinely am grateful I did, because you can see that year after year after year after year
Just
after
evolving.
year after year, the game just got better.
Yeah.
In my time with Warframe,
100%.
I got to experience over a decade's worth of content for the game, and really see why this game works for so many people. Off the bat, if you can see past the beginning of the older content and at least make it to a quest called the Second Dream, you will be rewarded greatly.
Oh yeah, dude. Once you hit that second dream, the game sends you off, man. Blasts you to just crazy quests. Yeah, that's 100%. I think if people grind to the point where they reach the second dream, yeah, that's when it really hits.
I couldn't even imagine being a player back then who found this game to be worth the time investment and seeing the progress through. It is why I believe Warframe to have such a fantastic community. They got to see their game get better with every single update, and the leadership and devs are really in touch with what players want from what I've seen.
Yeah.
The loop is very much what keeps people away or keeps them coming back. The game works on what is called a tile system, which are randomly generated small levels of each mission type, to keep it refreshing to revisit and to grind for the drops. On a defense mission, for example, you might be waiting there for enemies to spawn for 20 minutes with a big pipey area, or you are in a big grassy field and it's easy to finish the waves you might need. Sometimes the tile...
I wonder if Warframe was like one of the early adopters of just of tile set of things being a tile set, or a tile set generative levels, because I know something like that existed for, I think it was Left 4 Dead. I think Left 4 Dead had that very same thing too. But the difference was that Left 4 Dead was more of items, or items being placed in the campaign or in the level were randomized, but the levels, the structure of the levels weren't different. So I wonder if Warframe was like the early adopters, or maybe the first, which I doubt. But it would be interesting to see, what is true.
Offer depth. Other times they are frustrating to navigate. But for this concept to work, Digital Extremes, the company behind Warframe, had to make movement a key priority. From what I'm told, movement wasn't always this clean in the game, but I couldn't stop wanting to perfect my slides and air dodges. You can tell that the devs are so in touch with the community, as they took a bug with movement and turned it into a feature. This built in with the fact that the melee animations were clean, made Warframe at the very least satisfying to move around in, and it's the key emphasis to why even a boring mission can feel like some fun is being had. This is something I always loved.
Yeah, that movement was called, I think it was called coptering, which I'm very glad something like that existed, because imagine if a bug like that didn't exist. Imagine how massively different Warframe would be if it wasn't for that movement. It'd be something else.
About Destiny as well. Sure, the Sparrow is a part of exploring, but so is the class movement with skating around the map. There isn't the same tech as far as I know in Warframe, but there is a base level much stronger with movement. I even got to learn that skimmers have been in Warframe for a lot longer than Destiny, and that apparently there was a war between the communities, which I found funny because, well, they're both just games to have fun with, and they both have strengths and weaknesses. I know I said community is a big emphasis in Warframe, but it is very apparent, as people are always willing to help each other. There is easy ways to clone someone's build by them literally putting it to copy in the text chat. Plans with huge dojos to build progress towards, and with trading in them. There's styles to copy, and there's gifting. Now, I won't lie, I did get the streamer treatment, and I begged everyone not to boost me with plat or any other game-breaking frames and weapons or mods, which they listened and sent me 1,000,000 drones. So thank you. Then there's Tenogen.
That's awesome. I will lie, that's actually pretty dope. And I'll be honest with you, man. Here's the thing. A quick thing. There's a guy that put like 1,000 of them in his orbiter. And here's the thing, his game crashed and he could not load back into the thing. He couldn't load back into the game at all because I think it will constantly freeze. So he had to send a ticket to the devs, and the devs just sent him an email or a response of that email saying, "Yeah, we fixed that for you. Don't do it again." So I think there's a reason. I believe there's a limit of how many bots you can put till the game starts pretty much bricking. Maybe there's a reason why there's a limit, but that was funny, dude. That was amazing to read.
Which is probably the most in-touch design I have ever seen a company make with its community. These are community-made skins for frames, which Digital Extremes commissions for a cut with the artists. I wish more companies...
I'll be honest with you, man. How is it that they make like one character that floats, that has no feet, that doesn't even doesn't use their legs at all, have the firmest ass? Like, let's be honest. Damn, Wisp is so good.
Did this because, well, do I even need to explain why? It seems like the early days of Destiny did learn a lot from Warframe in the original grind and some of its RPG systems with materials needed for just about everything. But the difference is that to even create weapons, Warframe needs you to buy blueprints and grind parts from specific missions to make them. You can buy some weapons with in-game materials, and you can buy a lot in this game. I know the First Descendant gets a lot of crap because you can buy a lot of the skins and fully upgradable characters. But Warframe does have the same thing. It's the trade-off of these very free-to-play games. But it doesn't mean you or I have to like it even if it's there. I will say that everything is earnable in Warframe, and even some of the grinds have been sped up a ton, so I don't personally mind it. But I know there's a massive turnoff for a lot of people to get into the game, with monetization being a huge part of the game here. Now, I know that is really just a very brief introduction to the game, but I wanted to talk about my own personal experience with the story and missions themselves.
Which is interesting, like the way how the game monetizes and stuff, because even though the game doesn't really push like you gotta buy this, here's his pack, here is the item of the day, here's his item that's discounted just for you, and all. I'm not too sure about the discount part, um but it is interesting that the game does give you some sort of incentive and things like that, especially when you get like a platinum coupon and things like that. That is one way to give the developers a little bit of money while you receive more. I think that's actually really good, because how often do you see in games where they just what is it, put a discount on the currencies? They sometimes to put discounts on the currencies in general, but for Warframe, they're like, here, man, here's a what is it? Here's a platinum discount. Or if you're on console, I believe they just give you a discount on I think almost everything. Well, everything I think that is in packs or something like that, or I think in combos or something like that. Anyway, or like like in deluxe packages, and with multiple items in it. I think some items you can, or some and others you can't. But anyway, to me, I think it handles very, very well with some of the things that they handled. Oh God, why is it gotta be
the
white?
gameplay?
But what they handled some of the monetization and things like that. It's not so crammed down your throat and all that stuff, which is phenomenal, which I really, really love. But yeah,
And the major quests for story in this ever-evolving game that just looks to be getting a lot better.
Story and gameplay. Okay.
So the progression of the game and its many DLCs is what makes Warframe a long task to get through. And I'm not joking when I say that the first 10 to 12 hours is a bit of a slog. It was made in 2013, and playing it in 2024 has shown its age. I will start with things that I really enjoyed in the missions. For one, I loved how when the characters talk to you, it's not just a voice, but a live animation of their face up close on the side of the screen.
Yep, true that.
It gives them more life than just a voice and helps.
It's so simple, just an animation of them moving around and all that stuff, talking to you, bro. I mean, for someone like me who plays Fortnite with hell, even some of the things in the battle royale, or even in Save the World, if any of you guys have played it, it's just text in the bottom and an image of the person talking. That's it. But at least with this one, there's a whole animation, a person talking, looking at you and all that stuff. It's all that. It's just it makes it very, very more dynamic, more interesting, I guess you can say. So that's the reason why I kind of like the way how Warframe does it more than everybody else. Even though it's just that, but I don't know. After a while, it's just like, yeah. But then you see other games, you're just like, you know.
Helps you familiarize yourself with them just a bit more. I also loved how just about everything I was doing was progressing something in the game. My frame was getting stronger, my weapon levels were getting higher, and more. If you're wondering why this footage has a stronger frame with Saren Prime, it's just because I got this for watching the stream of TennoCon 2024, so please don't get mad at me. The gameplay can be mastered for each type of.
I'm so pissed I couldn't get that. And all is because one, I was at work when that shit happened, and two, I can't watch it on my fucking iPhone. Why? Why can't you get any of the rewards on iPhones? Why? Bro, it gives you more of a reason to abandon fucking iPhones. Just go with Android if anybody's watching. Go with Android. If you're contemplating on getting the next iPhone or an Android phone, get an Android. I hate iPhones, man. iPhones suck. They're garbage.
Mission and setting. There are frames for exploring, frames to gather more resources, frames for defense missions, frames to go even faster. Everything has a build and a purpose. And the purpose always has a build in mind. As we will continue on though, I really appreciated the puzzly mechanics in the main quest too, but I'll save my thoughts on that when we get there. So, the story. This was something I wasn't prepared to enjoy at first. The game felt closer to a mobile game in some ways, missions with a UI that I didn't love, and the structure was basically the same. By the end, there are massive narrative beats, genuine cutscenes, and mission direction, emotional moments, new perspectives, and playable characters. And my favorite thing of all, puzzles. This fucking game, dude. What? You play as a Tenno, a mysterious race of warriors who once wielded powerful technology known as Warframes. These Warframes are biomechanical suits that grant extraordinary abilities. The Tenno was created by the Orokin, a highly advanced civilization that ruled through the Origin system, a star system with multiple planets and moons. The Orokin employed the Tenno as their elite soldiers in a series of.
I see I was gonna say I see he hasn't got his rail jack yet. But it's crazy that the Viri paradox is available immediately. I think that the Viri paradox, I think he should play the game at least a bit. I don't know to when exactly, maybe to a point where he gets Saya's Vigil or maybe Vox Solaris for Deviri to be available. Because that game just immediately, because I think if you're someone that's like, oh, let me look at Deviri, and it's like just it just throws you in there. And I think that's I personally, for me, either that could keep someone really interested in playing, or it could be really, really bad. Because here's the thing: if this is something that they first experience, or not first experience, but this is like their early experiences, either it could be two things. It could be really, really bad for said new player, because it is completely different of what they just saw and witnessed and just played in the beginning, or this could be something good, and this is something that they'll dive more deeper into playing. It is pretty much 50-50, I guess you can say. But um but whatever, but maybe what you think is different. If that's the case, leave it in a comment. Put a timestamp as well, so I'll know where exactly what specific part you're mentioning. And yeah, all right, let's continue.
Conflicts against various factions, like the Fallen, the Cabal, the Tenno also fought the Hive, and the Vex. Throughout the story, we follow our own journey planet to planet, finding a way to, hold on, let me Google it. Lotus, our primary guide planet to planet, teaches us about the places, and it's only later on that we learn more about her and her murky past. I won't go too far into this, but I will say that you go from cutscenes that look generic to, well, have a look at some of these.
The new war. Yeah.
You also get to see a peek into the evolution of the mission structure. We go from the samey missions, then I am playing as an expanded on operator who gets weapons and a whole moveset like a Warframe and stealth missions fighting the Veil. And I'm named the Drifter and have a small camp away from... Wait a minute. This is just Destiny. The Warframe constant improvement is a two-sided coin for many a reason. You can find these wonderful moments, but you have to dig very deep to experience them. Close to 30 hours to play, in my opinion, its best quest. This may give it a cult-like feeling since many won't make it that far, but I wish that this was more accessible even earlier on.
I 100% agree. I feel like asking the players, and I've heard this from other people too. I've heard this from what was the guy's name? I think it's the guy that reacts to opera. I think it's like an opera singer. He's a white dude. I don't know. He's Caucasian dude. I think he has black hair and all that stuff, and he listens to various of video game music, and I believe he's an opera singer himself. And even he said the same thing, that it is a grind through like the 30 hours, but after that 30 hours, it really pays off. And to me, I think it's true. The game does give you a very handsome reward for grinding through the game. But here's the thing: asking a player 30 hours, it is a significant commitment to a lot of players. It really is. So I hope that they kind of tweak that a bit, where it could, instead of 30 hours, it could be, I don't know, less than that. I don't know to what degree. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not kidding when I say that Warframe feels like different games packed into the same game, and the devs are very aware of that too. They have shortened grinds since then. They've taken measures to save space on hardware. They have even evolved the missions around what the community has wanted. They know that the game has only gotten better. One of my favorite examples was in the new war quest. Early on, Warframe players knew that from the assassination missions they were completing, they would get messages from this question mark villain. Then there was a payoff in the second dream quest that came out much later. The Stalker was now the antagonist. After that, and in the new war, he was our enemy of our enemy, which turned him into an ally. From a fan theory concept to a full-on ally in the space of only a few years. Not only that, but the variety of missions feel like the game has had time to develop ideas. There's missions out in a spaceship railjack. Yeah, Warframe has full-on space battles. There's missions in a mech. Some missions are underwater. There are missions where you could explore on the hoverboard, or you could just fly around. Upgrades for farming tools, mods for all of these, the depth just continues. I could go on and on, but those strengths really shine the further you are. Gameplay-wise, some of these ideas are also just ideas and don't really hit the mark. For every stealth mission as the Drifter using...
I want to know, when you're the operator, when you're operator form, can you still do that, like that punch? Like, I remember you used to be able to press B, and your character does like a punch sort of thing. Is that a thing anymore? I try to do it quite a bit and never happens. I don't know. That's something they removed from the game.
Your pistol or bow, there's a mission where you are simply defending an area. Again, there are frames and builds that make this easier, but I just don't love the concept of this, as it triggered some PTSD from Destiny. I always love missions where you're bound to get out of the comfort of your frame, like the Drifter ones. I felt the bosses were stronger, and health and positioning really mattered. Now, it doesn't help that my frame was Saren Prime from Tenacon, but I really like a good boss, and Warframe doesn't always have that. Don't get me wrong, the good ones really hit hard. but the bad ones are so laughable that you'd be better off forgetting completely. Some frames are unlocked to be earned or bought by progressing planets, and each time these frames were a pushover, except for Saren.
Why?
Okay, I can get my points.
This was the same for assassination missions.
Well, granted, Saren is pretty squishy. She really is a squishy character, so that's the reason why a lot of people run the what's it called, that decoy augment card, or was a mod that gives you health. There's a reason why a lot of people run that. It's incredibly helpful because she is a very squishy Warframe.
Where some were thought out and creative, while others were really hard to even see who I was fighting. Bosses were improved a ton with Archons, the bosses in New War, but it's a shame that there isn't more depth to these bosses. I really hope they keep adding more cool and unique boss fights because they worked really well. I've also been told that there was raids in Warframe, but they were removed because it didn't fit the game well. And while I respect that,
that's true.
I will say that this game was built for a raid or two. It is filled to the brim of potential of what a raid could be, like a Destiny one. Some weapons are also just...
I think Warframe can be, it can have a raid, but I think the developers don't really know what to do with that, like, or how they can do it, because since it's what is it? It's a level 4 players, or even actually no, technically what raids usually have like 6, which I think what Destiny's usually like 3, I think. So like, yeah, like you'll have 4 players. If you want to increase that for a raid up to like 8 or something like that, having 8 and 10 at once, or I mean 4 could probably work, but I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why they haven't really done it, because of just uh going from 4 players maybe to 6 or 8 or something like that, and having to deal with each person individually and such. Maybe it could be that having so many warframes on the screen at once can really hinder people's hardware and such. Because, bro, I mean, when you go into the what's that thing called, the hub areas, bro, your game, no matter if you're on Xbox, the Series X or PS5, your game's just like, it's like it stutters sometimes because of like all the characters is trying to all the assets is trying to load from all the for everyone's for everyone's Warframe accessories and stuff. So it's understandable.
Just here to be here and level, but never to priority use.
At once.
I'm sure everything can be used, except for the Stug. That thing is horrible. But yeah, I found myself sticking to the same weapons outside of going for a higher mastery rank. Outside of this, the gameplay has investment of time and resources for everything, and I will hammer home that I really love that. Everything I was doing had a purpose somewhere, and there wasn't a lot of doing something for no reason, because everything can work towards that. This was one of my biggest turnoffs of Destiny. There isn't a ton of incentive to explore everything in that game, but Warframe has scratched that looter, collector, min-maxer, grinder itch so hard. It's a game, as you will learn in this next section, that I really want to come back to.
Soulframe and Warframe. Bro, I can't wait for Soulframe. That's going to be so awesome when that comes out. Is that going to be free to play as well, or are you going to have to buy it? Because either way, I mean, if it was for money, I would absolutely buy it.
I never thought I would like this type of game. It had so many red flags for me, and in the beginning, my biggest fears of it were coming true. I hated that the missions felt the same. The world didn't offer that much depth of story and characters. There was unclear story and misdirection of cool ideas. It felt very familiar to vanilla Destiny and Anthem. But Warframe is a shining example of what happens when a publisher trusts the developers, and when the developers and leadership especially trust in the community and their own teams to deliver. Is it perfect? No. There is many things I don't love. But is it true to the vision of what it wants to be? Absolutely. And it does try new ideas like the Duviri Paradox, which is more or less a roguelite mode in Warframe.
Yep.
To the developers making Warframe 1999 look like Metal Gear Solid. So yeah, I will be there, and hopefully after watching this too, you might consider it yourself.
Yeah.
If there is one thing I've learned with gaming in 2024, it's that every major game I have seen is laying people off, and CEOs who are out of touch. It's just a mess.
CEOs out of touch. Yeah, absolutely, man. While all their employees are being disregarded, the CEOs are like, "Oh, I just got another raise." Huh, it's quite interesting. All the people we just fired, it's equivalent of how much I'm gonna make now. Awesome.
Yes. I can only hope that Digital Extremes continues to be the needle of hope in the haystack of bad corporate decisions and continue the mantra in Soulframe, a game that literally fits me so well. I can't have a second channel focused on single-player games, with the most popular videos being Souls-likes, and cover live service games on my main channel and not cover Soulframe. I know that Digital Extremes has gone out of their way to call Soulframe not a Souls-like, but still, it's just too perfect. Thank you for watching my personal Destiny killer, and hopefully I gave you 1997 reasons to listen to this video. Thanks,
of course,
and I'll see you next time.
Sorry, man, I just had...
What? This is disgusting. If he kills it here, refund.
What is this song he's playing?
Thank God,
Oh, he died.
Why is she taking no damage? I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. What the Sorry.
Oh, yeah. He's going against his zone, so it's gotta be hard.
Watch what just happened to me. What? Okay, so explain how I died there.
Yeah, it's the toxin. That's what it is. So he's getting a taste of his own medicine, man. Holy my God, why is that white? But yeah, he's getting a taste of his own medicine, man. But yeah, man, agreed, dude. It is a very different you know, it really gives you a different perspective between when you play Destiny 2 or just Destiny in general, and then when you play Warframe, because it's like some of the things that are normally mashed in your face, or maybe even some of the what is it, even some of the story, um which Destiny's always had a good and interesting story. um like always, like I've always had it. I mean, unless you're talking about vanilla Destiny, then it's different. um but I can understand why he feels like he's having this sort of PTSD of playing some of the things in Destiny, because even though Warframe kind of does the same thing of like do these missions and do this and that and all that stuff, you do the same thing in Destiny a lot, and I mean a lot. Like you play so many of the same missions all the time, and so I can understand why someone can feel very very negative about that, get a very negative feeling about it. It's understandable why. Um, However, I do think that he actually dedicated and sticking around playing the game and actually evolving, or I've actually seen the evolving of the game between each quest that was done, is great, because you can see yourself as someone who's freshly playing the game, of like how kind of like how the game is ramping up, but as soon as you hit the second quest, it's like kind of ramping up just a little bit, but once you hit that second dream quest line, it really ramps up like crazy. It really really does. And so that's kind of and to me, that's the reason why I stuck around, because even when I played the second quest, I was like, dude, this is awesome. But as he said earlier as well, that when you ask when you ask a player to dedicate 30 hours, maybe even a little less, to stick around and to actually getting into like the actual, well, I wouldn't exactly say climax, but like the start of it, the actual uh build up of like the pinnacle of the game. It's no it, like I'll be honest with you, it's asking too much. That's too much time. That's way too much time. Hell, I've seen people say that for other games too. You know, people will say that about Final Fantasy, or of what's the other game, like Persona and things like that. People are like, dude, you gotta play at least 50 hours for the for the game, for the game to get good. I'm like I'm like, why do you play how much hours? I've heard that for some games. um and Warframe is, I would say, is definitely one of them. Yeah. it may not be egregious like some other games, but 30 hours is asking a lot for some people, bro. And here's the thing: you're talking about community. You're talking about a modern what is it, a modern community, or what is that? No, not community, but a more modern player base where they usually have TikTok on one hand and playing the game in the other. You know, it's just like, you know, they have got massive brain rot. So yeah, man, it's different, you know. I do think they got to cut that down, but honestly, they have cut it down. You know, they definitely have made the game less grindier before, because man, it was rough in the beginning, dude. Or yeah, man, it was something else in the beginning. But anyway, um, but yeah, man, great video, great video from Evan. Um, but yeah, so conclusion: Destiny sucks. Warframe is better in every bit way. No bias here. Just pure pure honesty. But anyway, well, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys liked the video. Leave a like on both videos. Leave a like on mine and Evan videos as well if you enjoyed his and his what is it, his video, because I thought it was a good one. It was a very good one. It was pretty well thought out, which of course it did contain quite a bit of spoilers and such, which, you know. But I'll be honest with you, I feel like no matter some of these things you seem like it's so out of context, you're gonna be like, what the fuck's going on? But I think once you do play it, you're gonna understand what's going on. Because I'll be honest with you, there definitely have been some things that I've seen where out of context, it wanted me to see what was happening in context, and absolutely just propelled me into liking more of said thing, into liking like a specific game or movie and such, or even TV shows as well. But anyway, as I said, thank you for watching, and I will be live later today at 7:30. Hopefully, I'll make it around that time, or it might be a little late. I'll probably be a little late. But anyway, have a good one.